we'll do some prayers, offering our obeisances to the Gaudiya Guru Varga, who is giving us this knowledge from which this Upadeshamrita is coming. Coming from Srila Rupa Goswami, one of the chief personalities who were studied under Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and received his mercy, and now we're getting his Amrita or his nectar. So, before we begin, if you want, Ben, you could scroll there. We can chant these invocation prayers together. Unto the gurus in my life, Diksha, like His Holy or His Grace Shamik Rishi Maharaj, and Shiksha, many Shiksha gurus also in my life who are helping me grow, and without them, impossible to keep growing. I would like to offer my obeisances to all the Gaudiya Guru Varga, the lineage of Gaudiyas in which the disciplic succession we are getting this knowledge, including Rupa Goswami. And then last, I'd like to give my obeisances to all of you, because without you coming to even here, there's nothing to speak, no one to speak to. Even though Prabhupada, one time he was just starting his classes in New York City, and he was giving a lecture on Bhagavad Gita, but something happened, no one came that night. It was rare. Usually at least like 2 or 3 people would come, but no one came. So he remembered an instruction from his Guru Maharaj, and he said, if no one is there, then you preach to the 4 walls and all the demigods. So he said, okay. So he continued preaching, and he had a dictaphone to record his preaching. And actually, that was the most widely heard lecture of Prabhupada, of any of his lectures. Why? Because that lecture became the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita as it is. So many people heard that lecture, but just many years later I've heard. But so you never know. Even if nobody comes, you still preach, no problem. You still speak Harikatha. Introduction to Bhagavad Gita, yes. You've read it probably, so you've heard that lecture. But yes, nobody came to that lecture that night, but Prabhupada gave his best lecture and he put it in his book. So this is very good. So anyhow, luckily there are a few people here tonight. So Tej Kumar, you guys can hear back there with the air conditioning? So I'm not used to having the air conditioner, so I'll have to speak up again. But it's the... What's that? Okay, yeah. I'll try not to use the mic just because it's... yes, it's so small, a room. So a little recap. We have been talking through the Upadeshamrita, first about the qualities of a guru, Vacho Vegam, Manasakroda Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Urupasta Vegam, Etan Vegam, Yo Vishaheta Diraha, Sarvam Apiman Pritavim, Sashishyat, one who controls their speech, one who controls their the urges, Vacho Vegam, Manasakroda Vegam. So the mind and the anger. We should only use anger when devotees are being blasphemed and the Lord is being blasphemed. Otherwise, anger should be curbed. Manasa, the mind should be engaged in trying to remember Krishna and not forget Krishna. The mind should be engaged in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, we're sitting and chanting, the mind is telling us go so many other places instead of chanting. Instead of practicing Krishna consciousness. Oh, well, this very important thing is there. So anyway, this is actually describing a guru. Jiva Vegam, Udara Vegam, the tongue, the belly, and the genitals all being controlled, engaged in Krishna consciousness. And such a person can make disciples all over the world. Then it talks about, this is kind of a spin-off of a Hatha Yoga Pradipika verse. These next two are the yamas and niyamas of Hatha Yoga. You've probably heard of this before, yamas and niyamas. This was my first introduction to Krishna consciousness many years ago, before I knew anything about Krishna consciousness, was Hatha Yoga. In Hatha Yoga, they have certain yamas and niyamas. In order to sit and meditate, you actually have to cultivate a right way to live first, and then you can get the benefit of meditating. If you're doing all kinds of crazy things, you cannot sit and control the mind and meditate. So in order for yoga, you've heard of the word yoga? Yes. Yoga means to link or to connect with the spirit. But the problem is we're so caught up in the mind, on the platform of the mind, that we're just being pulled around by the dictates of the mind. And then we don't get a chance to do any real yoga. So how do we actually do yoga? Yamas and niyamas. It's giving us the foundation. So remember, eating more than necessary, or collecting more funds than required, over-endeavoring for mundane things, talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters, prajalpa. The first is atyahara, and then prayasas. So prayasaha, over-endeavoring. For practicing niyamagraha, you take one part of the scriptures and you hyper-focus on this and you neglect more important parts of the scriptures, or you just neglect the scriptures altogether. This is niyamagraha. This will ruin you. 5, associating with worldly-minded persons, jana sangha, also very much not good. And 6, being greedy for mundane achievements. So all of these things, they'll never help us. So then he gets into, what do we really need to focus on then? These are the niyamas. Well, these are the positive things to do. Being enthusiastic, endeavoring with confidence. Enthusiastic is utsaha. Endeavoring with confidence, determination, nishchaya. Being patient, also humble, dharya. Acting according to regulative principles, tat karma. Doing what you're supposed to do. Finding the devotional, scriptural injunctions and doing those things. Number 5, abandoning the association of non-devotees. This is coming again, over and over again. We have to, those who are worldly minded, we have to kind of step back. It's necessary. It's one of the things you have to do. One of the things you should not do is associate with worldly minded persons, and one of the things you should do is not associate with worldly minded persons. So this is hyper important. It's so important. But, naturally you have to do some dealing, like you might have to, today we have to, fix the locks. Sometimes we have to run business. Sometimes we have to run to the market. All kinds of things you have to associate to some degree, but not deep association. Just the basic necessities of life. That's all. So, then last is following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. Finding out what is it that they do. What are the injunctions they live by? Like for instance, Prabhupada, before he became Prabhupada, he lived many years as an honorable grahastha. He lived many years, he had a pharmaceutical business in India. And he lived very honorably. properly, and you saw even how he would, in the midst of that, doing all of his work, maintaining his family, so many things, he would get sadhu sangha, he would host devotional programs at his home, he would do many, many things. So this is, if you learn about the footsteps of the acharyas, then you follow in those footsteps. Best, easiest way you can do that, read these books. These books will tell you exactly how to follow in the footsteps of the acharyas. And then, of course, honestly though, you should find a sadguru, you should find a very high-class sadhu, Vaishnava, to follow very closely. And then, because sometimes, many times, such a guru is a very important personality, and he's not able to give personal attention every second of every day to all of our complex needs. So then you find your seniors. Others are also, working in this path who have some experience, and get clarification however you can, but just keep trying to hear. So then last week we talked about what are the activities devotees do? Offering gifts in charity, accepting charitable gifts. So offering gifts in charity, accepting charitable gifts. Prabhupada was mentioning the ultimate gift we can offer is the holy name. Harinam Sankirtan. We were out giving gifts in the streets of Syracuse last night. Giving many, actually, interestingly enough, maybe someone saw, one man came, he stopped his car in the middle of the street, and he called me over to get a book. I thought it was very strange. Well, anyway, I had to go to Lowe's today for some odd reason, and I never go to Lowe's, and so I'm walking through Lowe's, and next thing I know, I'm asking someone to help me find it, because I don't know my way around a handy store at all. And I'm asking someone to find, and it's the guy. And it was pretty powerful, actually. So anyway, we ended up talking. He helped me actually pick up all the things. But, now even more gifts. And but you never know, just by giving the gift of the Harinam, and he gave some gift in return, a little bit of Lakshmi, and we gave some books, some more gifts, giving gifts like that. Now, again, he's meeting with the devotees the next day. I'm not a very good devotee, but he's meeting some devotees, and now he's getting texts about all of the programs. And who knows, maybe he'll come. So anyway, like this, this is the ultimate gift. But any small gift, devotional gifts, it could be a book, it could be some donation. Some people like to give vegetables. Some people like to anything like that. We should give to the devotees, and we should accept from the devotees prasadam. But that's also its own category, is prasadam. Revealing one's mind in confidence. This is very important, especially with your equals and seniors. You should talk about your own devotional revelations. You should ask about what are your revelations? What are you having? Like this, especially with your equals and seniors. So say you meet with somebody, you guys started Krishna consciousness around the same time, but you haven't seen them in a while. You should catch up with them, and you should reveal your heart, where you're at right now, what you're focusing on, and ask what, and so on. And then when a guru or when our senior is there, we should do pariprashna. We should ask questions, any clarification we could get when we're in the midst of someone more advanced than us. Like we have a good opportunity, July 1st and 2nd, we'll have a very senior disciple. He was associated with Srila Prabhupada. He didn't get to take formal initiation before Srila Prabhupada left this world, but he was, amongst the devotees and following Srila Prabhupada eagerly, and then took formal initiation, but his name is Mukunda Prabhu, but he's coming. He's a senior devotee, honorable devotee. We should take the opportunity while he's in our midst. We should hear from him and ask, him to reveal some things to us. So inquiring confidentially, very important amongst devotees. We should have deep friendships with the devotees, and we should, get a bit confidential. Not just anyone, are you a devotee? You chanted Hare Krishna? All right, I'm going to tell you everything about my life. Not necessarily. Has to be some building of trust. But once some trust is built, it's good for the devotees to reveal one's heart. Then, accepting prasad. Everyone here, no one is lacking in this. Everyone likes to accept prasad, and offering prasad. Also, no one here is lacking this. We are offering every day. Today, we're going to miss her very dearly, but Nitai Priya Devi Dasi has been making so many wonderful prasad dishes. I don't know the next time I'll have pakoras again after she's here, because we're not so good at making them, but maybe some of the boys will have learned. But this is so nice to offer prasad and to share it amongst the community members. So these are the 6 symptoms of love shared by one devotee and another. Priti Lakshanam. So now, in the midst of this, we were talking about the benefits of sharing the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in Sankirtan. So this is what we do here. We get together and we chant the names of the Lord. Even when we are chanting the bhajans, it's all about how the holy name of the Lord is glorified. So, Hare Krishna, come on in. Hare Krishna. Please remind me your names. Tejas. Okay. And? Samiksha. Welcome back. You both have been here before?
Yeah.
Yes. So welcome back. We're talking about the Upadesha Amrita. So we're discussing. And right now the subject matter is Harinam Sankirtan. So we talked about this, all of the different benefits that Harinam, chanting the names of Hari, will do. And then on top of that, and so what are those benefits? It'll clean the chitta. It'll clean the mirror of the heart. Your consciousness. Right now, actually, this is a huge thing because what's happening is we have a pure faculty to approach the Lord in our life. And it's called our chitta. But the problem is how we get a gross body is there's so many different transformations of the chitta, and it grossifies more and more. And it comes into the manavrittis. So now you have the mental fluctuations are getting in the way. And then next thing you know, this is the process of creation. But you have a different subtle and emotional bodies, then coming all the way down to the gross body. And next thing you know, you have ahankara and buddhi, intelligence, and how to use this body. And you think that you're this body, and you think that you're something material, when actually you're pure spiritual consciousness. So actually, what to do? What's happened is our pure chitta, our pure consciousness, has been dirtied, has been muddied, has been blocked, and now we are in a hankara. We're identifying with that which we are not. This is called Maya, that which is not, and this is the problem with everybody in the material world. They think that things are reality that are not reality. So actually, by chanting the names of the Lord, and also if you do so with sambandha jnana, meaning understanding the relationship with the Lord, if we're all part and parcel of the Lord and we understand that, and we chant the name of the Lord in that mood to try to be of service to the Lord, this will cleanse our consciousness and give us an opportunity to come back to that state of chitta, of that pure consciousness. So cheto darpana marjanam, cleansing of the darpan, the mirror of the heart, the chitta, cheto. So this is ultimately, that's the first benefit. And then bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam, the fire of conditional life. There's so many miseries in this world. You cannot stop them. Birth, death, disease, old age, it will come, and you cannot stop it. Even if you try and preserve everything nicely, everything will degrade. And even when you think everything is fine, then some problem. Like today, I had experienced this. 2 of our Airbnb guests. One guest, a mouse jumped in his bed last night. Literally jumped in his bed while he was sleeping. And he had to throw the mouse out, and he was very disturbed by this. And so he was quite, disturbed. And then another Airbnb we had locked herself out of the room, and of course I have no key. So we had to hire a locksmith today. We had to do so many things. Money has to go, things like that. But this is the material world. You cannot stop these problems. Even nobody wants fire, but fire comes. It's impossible. Nobody wants forest fire to come. But this Mahadavagni, this forest fire, it's coming. So if you want relief from this forest fire, the holy name of the Lord, this is the only way, right? There's a verse, very nice verse. Tatenu kampam susamikshamano bunjana evatma kritam vipakam ridvagva prabir vidadan namaste jiveta yom mukti pade sadayaba. So if you're eagerly seeking the mercy of the Lord, let's say you're suffering. Who here is not suffering? Who's transcended suffering? Oh, no one? Yes. Okay, so when we're suffering, what to do? We should be eager to seek the mercy of the Lord. All the while, we have to just accept our karma. We accept what is our life. You cannot change it. Don't complain. Okay, this is my lot, and I'm due this lot. Bunjana evatma kritam vipakam. I've done so many pious and impious things, and this is the result. This is my life. I have to accept. But what's the solution? Ridvag vaprabir, with your heart, with your chitta. Heart, vag with your words, and vaprabir with your body. Vidadan namaste. You offer that to the Lord. Jiveta yo mukti pade sadayabak. Meaning one can get mukti pade, you can get liberation, freedom from the sufferings at the feet of the Lord by His special mercy. So if you are, whatever is going on in your life, with your heart, with your body, and with your words, offer that to the Lord. And that's one of the processes. We're trying to teach that here, how to do that. So, the easiest thing to do, with your words, with your body, with your heart, call out the names of the Lord. Right? Yes, and in Sankirtan, also get in a group, do it. So if we have a gathering and we're all going to chant together, yeah, come and chant with the devotees. This is so good. Last night we went out on the street and we did it, and yeah, even like I said, mentioned earlier, today I ran into someone we chanted and who heard our chanting and was appreciating, and then something deeper happened to them. So this will extinguish the fire, the miseries in your life. So you just chant the names of the Lord. Try it out. Anyone can do this. You're working. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. No problem, right? No matter what you're doing, you're cooking, you're cleaning, you're typing, anything, you can chant a little bit. All right, you're talking to someone. No problem. Okay, yes, thank you. Very good. Hare Krishna, and then keep moving on with your life. You know, it's easy. No problem. And it'll remove miseries from your life. And then Shreya Karava Chandrika Vitaranam. So you'll actually get Shreya, all auspiciousness. You'll get the lotus of good fortune in your life. You'll learn how to live righteously and get good fortune. All by the mercy of the name of the Lord. All by its mercy. And then Vidya Vadu Jivanam. It's the wife of knowledge. All transcendental knowledge comes from this process. Because it is the Lord. You're calling the Lord is now with you. So all of the auspicious, wonderful qualities will come into your life. So just, be with those who are doing this process. Do it yourself. And you'll have no problems. There'll be no tension. If there's tension in your life, then maybe some forgetting. We've forgotten something. Okay, well, back to the basics. Basics, gather with devotees, sadhu sangha, and Harinam Sankirtan. Chant the names of the Lord, like this. And then Anandam Bhuri Vardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Svadhanam. It will give you the ananda, the bliss that which you're looking for. Everyone is looking for pleasure, right? You know how I know you're looking for pleasure? How do I know, Ben? Because you're alive. Any living entity is alive, is looking for pleasure. Whether you're an insect looking for insect pleasure, or a pig looking for pig pleasure, or you're a plant looking for plant pleasure, everyone's looking for pleasure. Here's the secret. That's what Ram means. Ram, the source of pleasure. If you want Ram, you want pleasure, Ramananda, or like this, the bliss of Ram, then chant the names of the Lord. It comes. So, it's like Purnamrita Svadhanam. It's like a complete nectar ocean, actually. So the more we do this process, the more bliss becomes available to us. But actually, to do the process, it requires getting this out of the way. The manovrittis. We have so many fluctuations of the mind. So many things the mind will tell you why you shouldn't do this. You'll sit, okay, I'm going to chant the names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Oh my God, this thing has to happen. And oh my God, and the next thing you know, your mind is taking you away from your chanting. Your mind is taking you away from doing these things. Oh, well, I can't do this. I have to balance the checkbook. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to fix the stairs. And the next thing you know, you have a whole life of I got to do this, and then no life of, your bhakti. I got this report, but just take some time every day. Yes, maybe you are very busy. No problem. Do your work, but then you have some spare time. Practice bhakti. And easiest thing, just chant the name of the Lord. Everyone can take some time. So ultimately, it's the life of all transcendental knowledge. It gives us transcendental bliss, and it gives us the taste for which we're always anxious. We're always looking for good taste in the world, like everyone likes Madhav makes these really good juices that you're all going to drink. Yes, yes, so very ecstatic juice. Be careful though, if you drink too much too late, you'll stay up too late. This is experienced by me and my wife. We drink, and halava. Yes, and Madhav's a halava-charya. So he knows how to make halva very nicely. So, but if you like the taste, the sweet taste, the ultimate taste will come in living a pure spiritual life. You will get so much taste actually. But it takes some time in our sick state. You've heard of the disease jaundice? Yes, you've heard of this disease. You've heard of it? Have you heard of scurvy? Yarr, scurvy. You've heard of this?
Your bones.
It's a lack of vitamin C and the skin turns yellow.
Does it?
Yes, and what happens is pretty much the solution is you didn't have enough of the sweet vitamin C fulfilling things like fruits and sweets and things like this. That's very necessary. So what happens is your taste turns bitter. Even though you can have sweet thing, you can have a delicious mango, the mango will taste bitter. And you'll be, I don't want to eat this. But no, you must eat it. It's your medicine. You have to keep eating. And then eventually what happens is that the bitter gets sweeter and sweeter and sweeter, and then it tastes like a regular mango again. And this can actually kill you. But in the beginning, because we're so jaundiced by our mind, we're so much enwrapped in the material world, which can never give any happiness and only gives forest fire. We sing every day, Samsara Davana Lalita Loka. In the world of birth and death, as we move through this world, Davanala, there will always be a forest fire. Lita, afflicting, Loka, the whole world, everyone is being afflicted. And actually, then it says, Tranaya Karunya Ganaganatvam. And Ganaganatvam, the clouds of mercy, is giving Tranaya Karunya. It's delivering that mercy. How? It's a song addressing the Guru who is giving this spiritual knowledge. And there's many types of gurus. Like even last night, Madhav was talking to some nice people. Adya was talking to some nice people. Rishi were talking. Everyone was talking. Actually, they were acting as a guru to that person. Not like a sadguru, they can surrender their whole life and soul unto them, but they were calling what's called a Vartma Pradarshika Guru. Someone who's showing the path, illuminating the path. So like this. So everyone's called to at least be a Vartma Pradarshika Guru to somebody. Because some people need help. So you help the ones who don't have access to something wholesome and spiritual. But then there's, Shiksha Gurus, people who are more advanced than you, who can help you through things. You can get advice from, you can get clarification on certain subject matters. And then you have a Diksha Guru, someone who's so prominent in your life, you want to, formally and surrender your heart to, if you can. Now, it's recommended. So, this rain of mercy, that's how it's coming. You can get the mercy this way, and it'll solve all of and what is the ultimate thing they're giving? Harinam Sankirtan. The process of how to mold a life of chanting the names of the Lord, how to mold a life of doing activities, Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam, which are favorable to Krishna. If you learn how to do this, you can live a very good life. And so this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in the beginning of his Shikshastakam prayer. So, that's kind of where we were at, where we talked yesterday. So, this is a very, very nice verse we ended on. Did we do this Bhagavatam verse, Savai Pumsang Parodharmo? I don't think we did. So anyway, I'll read just the last paragraph we read. The members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, we're like a little offshoot of that here, invite the Society's members and supporters to dine with them when they hold love feasts in all their branches every Sunday. And here, even Wednesday, we have a little love feast, cooked by very nice devotees. Many interested people come to honor prasad, and whenever possible, they invite members of the Society to their homes and feed them sumptuously with prasad. In this way, both the members of the Society and the general public are benefited. People should give up the company of so-called yogis, jnanis, karmis, and philanthropists because their association can benefit no one. If one really wants to attain the goal of human life, he should associate with devotees of the Krishna consciousness movement. Richa, Hare Krishna, we've been missing you. Because it is the only movement that teaches one how to develop love of God. Religion is the special function of human society, and it constitutes the distinction between human society and animal society. Animal society has no church, mosque, or religious system. In all parts of the world, however downtrodden human society may be, there is some system of religion. Even tribal aborigines in the jungles also have a system of religion. When a religious system develops and turns into love of God, it is successful, as stated in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshaje ahaitu kyapratihata yayatma suprasidati. So the supreme occupation or dharma, the paro dharma, for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Yato bhaktir adhokshaje, bhaktir unto the adhokshaje, he who is beyond the material senses. Such devotional service must be ahaitu kyapratihata, unmotivated. Not that, okay, I'll do some bhakti because that will make my bank balance good, that will make my relationship nice, that will make all of my material desires come true. Actually, that is a result of bhakti, but that can be a huge obstacle. You worship the Lord because you know the Lord will take care of everything. And so then you start making wish lists for the Lord. Well, all right, Lord, this year I want, we do this called New Year's resolutions. We make our wish list to the Lord this year. This year I want this, I want this, I want this, and I want this. And you're allowed to have desires, but if your desires should try to make yourself happy, then actually it's not a haituki. It's not, in order to be a haituki, it should be anukulyena Krishna anushilanam, meaning what is favorable for Krishna's pleasure? What does Krishna want? I was listening to a lecture today about some of very high devotees, the gopis. And it's amazing because the gopis, what would normally make everyone else miserable, if it makes Krishna happy, it makes them very happy. Even something, an example would be like Radharani, is Krishna's most dear person in Vrindavan. And so she's walking on the top of Govardhan Hill in the heat, and it's very hot, very, very hot. And so if you've ever gone to Govardhan, it's very rocky. There's so many shilas everywhere, Govardhan rocks everywhere. And in the hot heat of India, it's very, very hot, and those rocks will get very, very hot. But all of a sudden she hears Krishna's flute. So then she's saying, oh my gosh, where is that coming from? And she sees it's over on the other side of Govardhan. I just need to get over these rocks over here. So she's walking on the rocks. But for her, it felt like cool as the moon's rays. It felt so beautiful. Why? Because there's Krishna over there. She can get a glimpse of Krishna like this. So sometimes devotees, they do so many difficult tasks, cooking all day, going out on the streets, talking to people, getting rejected by people. But they can feel blissful doing all these very difficult things because they know this is making Krishna happy. If this person can somehow be benefited, if Krishna can be pleased by my service, and that this is advanced devotees, but makes everyone else miserable, they'll be in bliss, actually, like Radharani. And she's the topmost level of this. But for interestingly enough, for everyone else, what makes them happy? If it doesn't make Krishna happy, the devotees are disgusted. They don't want anything to do with this. So like, for instance, I don't know, let's just say, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a good example. But most people, if they had money or good comforts and material comforts, I can give some example. Our friend Rishi was here. And Rishi was living here, and he was doing devotional service with us here. He was part of the ashram. But because it's his dharma, it's his duty, he has to get a job. So he has to get a job. So we told him, do your devotional work, but then every day do applications and get a job. So he did for many months like this. And then finally he got a job. But there was one problem with the job. It was in Buffalo. And there's no devotee community in Buffalo. Not because Buffalo's cold, Syracuse is cold too. But there's no devotee community in Buffalo. But he was looking for a job. All of his peers, like Piyush and Adi, I think you got some job. Maybe Richa, are you looking for a job? Yes. Are you looking for a job? Yes. Everyone's looking for a job. Ben, are you looking for a job? You just got a job. Yes. So, Yes, look at everyone in today's job market. Everyone is looking for a job. I was just on the phone with my brother. He has same problem. His girlfriend is having same problem. Looking for a job. Looking for a job. Everyone's looking for a job. So most people, when they would get the job, they would feel happy. But actually, Rishi, he was revealing to me, I wasn't feeling so happy. Why? Because he got the job, but then he didn't have the devotee association every day. He didn't have the opportunity to do things that would make Krishna feel happy. So then naturally he became unhappy. And so now every few weeks, whenever he gets some time off of the job, he comes back and he stays with for some time. Why? Because this is a way that he can do something to make Krishna happy, and he can maintain his happiness like this. So it's like this. The devotee always wants to do things that make Krishna happy. That's a haituki. Whatever is without motivation except Krishna's happiness. That's your motivation. And apratihata, always, constantly, non-stop. Not that, okay, I'll do a little devotional service in the morning, and then I have my more important duties. I have my job. Work. Okay, now I'm bored again. All right, maybe some worship. No problem. No. The most important duties are your worship. And then, okay, I have to do some work. Why? To maintain your life of worship for the Lord. You could be happy this way. That's apratihata. Everything you do is to enhance your favorable service to Krishna. Everything you do. All the time you're spending working, all the time you're spending studying, your relationships, all this thing. I have a wife. Even we have, we're renting rooms out of the house. We're maintaining the temple this way. We have some source of, you could say, exchange of money with the, guests and Airbnb and all these things. But we're using everything to maintain worship here. It's not perfect. Trust me, anyone who lives here for some time, you'll know it's not perfect. But, we're making some humble attempt. So this is what we have to just try to do. This is a humble attempt at what we're trying to do. Make our life one of worship to the Lord. And the easiest way to do that is chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Because we're remembering, oh Hare, oh Krishna, please engage me in your service. I'm calling to you. I'm not going to forget you. Working. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Now I have a baby. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Yeah, and sometimes, because after you practice for some time, you have a lot of joy in doing your spiritual activities, but then all of a sudden some material activity has to come, and you have to do it anyway. So then you get an anxiety. Well, what will I do? Oh, Hare Krishna, and you do like this. No problem. It's easy. It's so easy. Anyone can do it. So this verse, what does it mean? Yayatma supersidity. The Atma can be completely satisfied this way. Who wants to be completely satisfied? You know how I know you want to be completely satisfied? How, Ben? Yes, you're alive. Everyone wants to be completely satisfied. That's why the pig does what the pig does. That's why the plant does what the plant does. Everyone is doing. This is the secret. The ultimate occupation is to do the paro dharma, the topmost dharma, is yato bhaktir adhokshaje, devotion unto adhokshaja, the transcendent Lord. This will make everyone, how? Ahaitukya pratihata, unmotivated, not for like, okay, I'll do some bhakti, maybe, I'll get some nice benefits, maybe I'll get good money, maybe I'll get a good place to stay, maybe I'll get good food, something like this. No. Why? This will make Krishna happy. I'm convinced this will make Krishna happy. I've been told, the scriptures say, the devotees say, Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu, they all saying this makes Krishna happy. I'm going to do this. Why? That's the only reason why. If you do like this in apratihata, always, everything you do, at all times, I'm working this job and I'm going to use my money, I'm going to have a nice house and a nice family, and we're all going to worship the Lord together. I can help support my local community, and we can all worship the Lord together like this. If you do like this, apratihata, everything you do, then yayatma supersidity, you'll be completely happy. This is the secret. Just make everything. For instance, where's our plant? This is a plant, right? You see? Plant. If you want to water this plant, you don't take, okay, this leaf, I'll put 1 spoonful of water here, a little spoonful of water, and you go around the whole plant. But in our life, we do this. Okay, the relationship, put a little water on the relationship. Okay, the job, I'll put a little water on the job. Okay, my social life, a little bit in the social life. And we go around and we try to nourish all these things separately. But if we do the main thing, we just pour the water on the root very quickly, no problem. 10 seconds, put the water on the root, and everything gets nourished. You do bhakti unto the Hadhokshaja, everything gets nourished. And you're always doing like this, all the facets of your life. You don't have to worry so much. I don't even know how. It makes no material sense that we came here a few years ago, we were broke, we had nothing, all these things, and we're just trying to do some service to the Lord. But over the time in the years, and then somehow or other, now we have the house, now we have community, now we have everything that we need that we never thought. My mom told me when I became a monk, my mother is saying that you'll never find a wife like this. You'll never have a wife, you'll never have a child, you'll never have a job, you'll never have any purpose, anything that, it's because she was very angry when I started being a monk. Maybe you can relate. Sometimes most people don't have the vision. How does this work? You have to go around and you have to water this thing. If you don't go to work, how are you going to make money? All these things. But what no one can factor in is if you actually spend your time worshiping the Lord, everything gets taken care of. The Christians even know this. They say there's a verse, Jagadish, you probably know it. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and
all things shall be added unto you.
Yes, all things shall be added unto you. If you seek
the root.
Yes, if you water the root, everything will be taken care of, no problem. So even if you have 1 day a week, I can come only 1 day a week, be with the devotees. All right, come 1 day a week, no problem. That's all you have right now. And actually, the more you do it, the Lord will give His mercy. He'll free up more time so you can do more devotion. Because you'll like it and He'll like it. And so He said, all right, let me help you. You have this thing in the way, here, I'll move this out of the way. And He does so many things like this. So this is what we have to do. So let's read a little bit more. We're going to finish this verse this time. If the members of human society actually want peace of mind, tranquility, and friendly relations between men and nations, they must follow the Krishna-conscious system of religion, by which they can develop their dormant love for Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As soon as people do so, their minds will immediately be filled with peace and tranquility. We're seeing the world is now fighting. Israel and Iran and Pakistan and India and China and the USA and Russia and everyone else. Everyone is fighting. But if you want all the good things of life, everyone just be Krishna conscious. It won't happen, but at least some of us should be Krishna conscious. No problem. And you can immediately be filled with peace and tranquility. In this regard, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur warns all devotees engaged in broadcasting the Krishna consciousness movement not to speak to the impersonalist Mayavadis, who are always determined to oppose such theistic movements. The world is full of Mayavadis and atheists, and the political parties of the world take advantage of Mayavad and other atheistic philosophies to promote materialism. So Mayavad is thinking that Maya is topmost, meaning that I am God. They say, I'm not God. I am a little part and parcel of God. But we're all connected to God, but we are not the total God. But Mayavad, they think, yes, I am God. The only thing in our way is just this Maya, this illusion, thinking that we're so limited by this body and all these things. And so actually they're right to some degree. We are limited by this body, we're limited by our thoughts, we're limited by our wrong association with the world. But their crucial thing is they're thinking that, yes, when I unpeel it all, I'm going to realize I'm really Krishna. I'm underneath, especially I'm Krishna. And so are you, but especially me. They think like this. So anyway, there's many, especially if you go to, like, say, the local yoga studios, their version of, spirituality will probably be something Mayavad, something like this. Everything is one, we're all one, we just have to remember our true nature, we just have to get rid of all of this, clear it all out and just remember who we really are. God. No. But it is good. We should clear out all that nonsense and we should remember who we really are. A servant of God. So, Jivara Swarupa Hoy, Krishnara Nityadasa, Krishnara Tatastha Shakti Beta Beta Prakash. This is in Chaitanya Charitamrita. The Swarupa Hoy, the Swarup of the Jiva, of the soul, Hoy, is Krishnera Nityadas. We are an eternal servant of Krishna. We're a part and parcel of Krishna. Krishnera Tatasva Shakti. So we're like the marginal potency of the world. It's compared, you have the external material world, then you have the internal spiritual world. And we're right on the cusp. And we're marginal. Most of the time we go into the external material world and we put all of our energy outside, not inside, finding Krishna. But anyhow, like this, Tatasva Shakti, we have the chance. We can go out into the world and try and seek happiness in the material world, in samsara, which is Davanala, which is a forest fire. Or we can go in and try and, do you know in the Bible, also the Christians know, Jagadish, the kingdom of God is where, do you know? It's within.
Yeah.
The kingdom of God is said to be within. Also, same, Krishna's, even when we do, you see us doing the deity worship, Archana. There's many mantras, there's many things one has to do, but actually the whole process isn't the physical thing. There is a physical thing happening. But really, while you do the physical thing, there's a mental process happening. There's mantras you chant mentally to internally offer a form of worship. So actually, this is the process. So we have to, even when we're chanting and things like this, it becomes an internal process. We have to go away from the fluctuations of the mind and reach the chitta. And if you want that darpan, that mirror of who you really are to be revealed, marjanam, you must clean. How do you clean? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So you clean. But the Mayavadis, many will tell you, oh, why are you spending all that time chanting? Everything's all one. Everything is God. Anything you do is connecting to God. And the atheists will tell you the opposite thing. What's the point of doing all this thing? The purpose of life is to get pleasure. Sex, drugs, rock and roll, everything is here. Why are you wasting your time worshiping? They don't understand. So the devotee, we just kind of, no problem. You guys do that over there, but I'm going to go over here and I'll do my worship. No problem. So the Mayavadis, sometimes they even back a strong party to oppose the Krishna consciousness movement. This happened, there was court cases when the Krishna consciousness movement was coming, so many things. The Mayavadis and other atheists do not want the Krishna conscious movement to develop because it educates people in God consciousness. Such is the policy of the atheists. There is no benefit in feeding a snake milk and bananas because the snake will never be satisfied. On the contrary, by taking milk and bananas, the snake simply becomes more poisonous. Kevalang vishavardhanam. If a snake is given milk to drink, its poison simply increases. For a similar reason, we should not disclose our minds to the serpent Mayavadis and karmis. So, this verse is talking about who you should disclose your mind to. If you're disclosing your mind and your heart to so many friends and relatives and things. Like I was telling you, my mom is innocent. She didn't know any better. But I'm telling her all my aspirations and things like this. And she couldn't have the visions, You'll never find a wife, somehow a wife was found. You'll never have children, somehow a child has come. You'll never have a home, somehow a home has come. You'll never have all these things. Why? Because they don't have the same thing, so some poison will come out. So who do you reveal your heart to? The devotees. Get close with the devotees, reveal your hearts to the devotees. They'll help lead you on the right way. If we get very close to others who don't have the devotional conclusion, actually what they will give us is poison instead. And then we will have some poisonous conclusion. We have to be very careful. Actually, this verse, Prabhupada is talking, there's a verse in the Bhagavatam for why we should never hear from karmis and mayavadis, and it compares, it's like taking milk that's been touched by a serpent. Milk is very healthy, right? But if the serpent's venom has touched the milk, then if you take that milk, then you'll get poison. So even, our acharyas have told us we should be very careful who we hear Bhagavatam from, who we hear, devotional conclusions from, because if they're not completely pure, if it's not coming from a pure source, they could give us poison in the guise. That's why so many people, they come to a religious institution and they get hurt by a religion. So many people in the West, they get very turned off by a religion or something like this. Why? Because somehow or other something got poisoned. And then they were given the poison and then they did not like. So we have to be very careful. So, such discourses will never help if you're having revelations with non-devotees, actually. It is best to avoid association with them completely and never ask them about anything confidential because they cannot give good advice. So this is the unfortunate conclusion. You have to be very careful who you take advice from, who you associate with. Good, wholesome spiritual association, you can get great advice. But, like I said, even, there may be innocent well-wishers. They may come in the form of relatives or friends and things, but if they don't have the devotional conclusions solidified, they'll give you poison instead. And then you actually take it, and you might also give poison now because it's inside, it's locked inside. So anyhow, we just be very careful. So it is, he says, it's best to avoid anything confidential with them because they cannot give good advice. Nor should we extend invitations to Mayavadis and atheists, nor accept their invitations, for by such intimate intermingling, we may become affected by their atheistic mentality. Sangat sanjayate kamaha. We've seen that here. Sometimes we've tried to collaborate with other local groups. But because it's just such a conflicting philosophy, it becomes very uncomfortable. So what actually, interestingly enough, Prabhupada, when he came to this country, he was forced to be the only people who would accept him in the beginning was Mayavadis. And what he would do, he would try and preach the bhakti, as spoken in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, but they would always shut him down. And then eventually he realized, I need to go. I need to be somewhere where I won't be checked by these Mayavadis. So that's likely where this is coming from. He had personal experience. Interestingly enough, where Prabhupada was staying was in the Ananda ashram, and the guru of that ashram, he had a place in New York City. Interestingly enough, that was the ashram that I first got my yoga teacher training graduation from, believe it or not. And the woman who was in charge, actually, she was one of the women who intimately met Prabhupada. Her name was Joan Saval. She was following a different path. But actually, she had a really friendly relationship with Prabhupada. Actually, if you listen to Following Srila Prabhupada, she's the first one. Of all, there's hundreds of people giving their accounts of Prabhupada. She is the first one. And she was actually studying under the Mayavadi Guru, but she had these sweet interactions with Prabhupada. So if you ever listen to this, it's very, very nice. But actually, she was the one who was the teacher of my yoga teachers. Because I started in the Mayavadi school. That's how I started Krishna consciousness. But over time, I saw the benefit of this. So, it is the negative injunction of this verse that we should refrain from giving anything to or accepting anything from the Mayavadis and atheists. So also, this is proper charity. In Bhagavad Gita, it talks how to give charity. Sometimes we want to give, this homeless person needs lots of help, this thing's that, like that. Give them something Krishna conscious. Like, we pass many homeless people in Syracuse, and I say, hey, come here. And they're like, are you going to give me money? And I said, no. Here's a nice book. Or maybe even more fortunate, we have, they might just use it improperly. But sometimes we have prasadam. We have some prasadam. We give them a meal or something like that. And it's devotional. It's good. So like this, we should be very careful where we're giving gifts and how we're taking gifts. Also taking gifts. So these intimate exchanges should be with devotees. That's how devotees act. Having intimate exchanges with devotees and limiting their exchanges with non-devotees. So this will be very positive in your life. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has also warned, Vishayira anakaile dushta hayaman. By eating food prepared by worldly people, one's mind becomes wicked. Unless one is very advanced, he is unable to utilize everyone's contribution to further Krishna consciousness movement. That's why there's another message in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that even if we eat grains that cooked by materialists, so let's say you go to a restaurant, let's say you at the cafeteria food court, it said if we eat grains cooked by the karmis, it will have such a it's such a profane impact on our consciousness. It's said, it's compared that the mind will turn to stool. You have a nice mind, and instead of mind being pure and ready to worship the Lord, it'll turn to stool and no devotional conclusions will enter. So it's very important, what do we eat? We eat only prasad. And we're taking this with devotees and from devotees, and we're not relying on the materialists. Because they're not realizing, but they're very powerful in implanting their consciousness into things. Everything has consciousness to it. So a home cooked, that's why everyone agrees a home cooked meal is almost always better than some processed thing. Why? Because in that home, it's usually cooked with some love. Even the basic mother's love, like Deidre and Nadia are back there. Look at the love between Deidre and Nadia. And like this, so there's always love at home. So similarly, if you want a nice devotional experience, you should cook food only in devotion and offering to the Lord. And if not, if you can't, try not to accept from, you could say, dirty places. Not just cleanliness standards dirty, but also dirty in consciousness, where the whole means of life is about trying to enjoy this material world, which is a dirty conclusion. This world is not, we can enjoy, but we have to know how to enjoy. How do we enjoy? Ahaitu kipratihata, bhaktirat hokshije. It's the parodharma. It's the topmost thing. You just give your love to the Lord, and He'll make sure you're enjoying that. He'll enjoy and you enjoy, but if you try to take for yourself, no, my enjoyment's right over here. It's in this tub of ice cream. You eat it and it feels good for a second, but then you'll feel lethargic and, oh, why did I do that? And all these things like this. Anyway, that's just one example. So, but it said here the mind becomes wicked. So unless one is very advanced, he's unable to utilize everyone's contribution to further the Krishna consciousness movement. Therefore, on principle, one should not accept charity from the Mayavadis or atheists. Indeed, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has forbidden devotees to associate even with ordinary men who are too addicted to material sense gratification. The conclusion is that we should always keep company with devotees, observe the regulative devotional principles, follow in the footsteps of the acharyas, and in full obedience carry out the orders of the spiritual master. In this way, we shall be able to develop our devotional service and dormant Krishna consciousness. The devotee who is neither a neophyte nor a Mahabhagavat, a greatly advanced devotee, but is within the middle status of the devotional service, is expected to love the Supreme Personality of Godhead, make friends with the devotees. So there's 3 ways to make friends with the devotees. There's your devotees who are junior to you. You should be merciful to them, compassionate to them. Try and help them make advancement. Then you have your equals. That you should have friendship with your equals. And you should, reveal yourself confidentially to your equals. And try and help and not compete with your equals, but have friendship with your equals. And then there's your seniors. And your seniors, you should be very humble before, submissive. You should try and learn from them. Especially, seniors can be in a couple ways. There can be seniors by age, but there can also be seniors in devotional standing, in devotional experience. So the wise, like for instance, Vidura. You've heard of Vidura? From the Mahabharata? You've all heard of Vidura? Yes, Vidura. Right? Vidura, he wanted to take instruction from Uddhava. Uddhava is Krishna's cousin, but he's a very, very advanced devotee of Krishna. Vidura is a very old man. But Uddhava is like a young man. And Vidura is wanting to get instruction from Uddhava. Now Uddhava, though, he didn't like that. He said, the same conclusions also Krishna told Maitreya Rishi. He's older, you should go to him. So the younger devotee, he usually they won't want to, they'll feel funny if some older person is trying to accept them as a guru or something like that. But actually though, that Vidura had the right conception, and Uddhava had the right conception. Vidura knew he's so advanced, I should hear from him. But also Uddhava said, one, I have so many devotional things I have to do right now, and also this is a very weird relationship. There's a better option here. Here's Maitreya Rishi. You go to Maitreya Rishi. So like that. But we have to know how to associate with our seniors in devotion. And it should always be pranipatina, with respect, pariprashna, asking questions, and sevaya, doing seva. So this is how we associate. So the devotee knows how to have, this is called friendship with the devotees. Then, um, then we have to show favor to the ignorant. So some people, like on the street, some people are friendly to us and they'll come by and they'll be interested in what we're doing. So we try and give them a book. We try and see if they want to give a donation, do some seva, something like that. And we try to see if they want to chant with us or something like that. But, many don't. But anyway, you try and you try and just help them. See, how can I help you? You want this book? You want some prasad? You want, something like this. Or you're just even good advice, good devotional advice. But then sometimes there are people who become very jealous and demoniac, and they become they'll want to criticize the devotees or do something like that. But ultimately, you still want to love them, but you realize you're actually giving them a platform to make offenses. So if there's we had some homeless guy join us on Harinam last night. And he was yelling so many crazy things, actually. So we had to be very careful to keep him in a favorable place. Because, we were always encouraging, just chant, 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 chant. But sometimes he started yelling curse words and all kinds of crazy things. And if that were to turn against the devotees, then instead of helping his spiritual life by being with the devotees chanting, he would hurt his spiritual life by making offenses to the devotees. This is a very, very dangerous thing to do. So anyway, last night we were just trying to keep him positive, keep him away. But sometimes people get very, they get very adverse to the devotees. So then they might turn to the devotees and say mean things or rude to us or something like that. Anyone who goes out on Harinam, you probably experience it sometimes. Someone is rude to you. So you just have to just expect it actually. But anyhow, so these things. You have to reject the jealous and demoniac. It's better you just get away from them because you're actually hurting them, even though you're trying to help them. But if they're in that platform of being jealous and demoniac and angry, adverse to the devotee, then they'll just keep making an offense, and then Krishna has to punish them because he loves his devotees and he doesn't take kindly if anyone does anything against the devotees. That's why the first nam aparad, the first obstruction to the chanting of the holy name is what? Yes, blaspheming the devotees. Vaishnava aparad. So Krishna always, he says the Vaishnavas should always be treated with topmost, with love, with humility, with respect. This is pleasing to Krishna. So you should always make friends with the devotees. That's why he's saying this is very important. So according to the Didati, so let's finish. In this verse, there's brief mention of the process of making loving transactions with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and making friends with the devotees. According to the Didati principle, an advanced devotee is supposed to spend at least 50% of his income on the service of the Lord and his devotees. That's very high. But, that's what Rupa Goswami did, actually. Rupa Goswami, he did 50% of his income, and he spent it on the devotees and the Vaishnavas. And then the other 25% he kept for personal emergency. And the other 25% he gave to family and relatives, made sure they were maintained. And he was very, very wealthy, actually, but he led by example. So Prabhupada is quoting that to try and set an example of what we should do. So if 50% of our income we should put into devotional activity. That's like this. So, sometimes, like us here, we have a unique position in the temple. We're like running the temple. So a lot of times if we get income, we have to put it right back into making sure that things go on in the temple. Like this. But maybe, so for us, it's kind of like putting it right back where we are. But, also I've lived outside the temple and I was working a salary job. And any excess I had, I would make a portion, a budget. I would say, all right, this is going to my local temple. We were in Atlanta, and they would go to the local temple. And so this is so that they can continue the service, because I was on the outside. I wasn't very instrumental in the everyday activities at the temple. So I would always budget and portion it just like this. But it could be, you can have your guru. He may have some very special missions, something like this. But this is actually how you should take your wealth, and you should distribute it this way. This is at least the Prabhupada is recommending, but it has Shastric backing. This is how it's supposed to be done. At least in Paro Bhakti, in topmost Bhakti. On the service of the Lord and His devotees. That could also mean at your own home, making sure that the worship is going on nicely at your home, making sure that the deities are well taken care of, making sure that maybe there's flowers and nice articles of worship. It doesn't necessarily have to be everything goes to the temple, but you should, everything, 50% should go to your devotional activities, purely. So like that. So Srila Rupa Goswami has set such an example in his life. When he decided to retire, he distributed 50% of his life's earnings to Krishna's service and 25% to his relatives, and kept 25% for personal emergencies. This example should be followed by all devotees. Whatever one's income, 50% should be spent on behalf of Krishna and his devotees, and this will fulfill the demands of dadati. Giving. In the next verse, Srila Rupa Goswami informs us of what kind of Vaishnavas should be selected as a friend and how Vaishnavas should be served. So actually we'll see next verse how we should deal with the Vaishnavas. This is very, very important, and we'll get to it next week. But again, this verse was, I never did, Didati Pratigrihnati Guyam Akyati Prichati Bhunkte Bojayate Chaiva Shadvidham Priti Lakshanam. Offering gifts in charity, accepting charitable gifts, revealing one's mind in confidence, inquiring confidentially, accepting prasad and offering prasad are the 6 symptoms of love shared by one devotee and another. And the previous verses made us realize why worldly-minded people will not be able to give us the love we're really looking for in this life. They're not, unfortunately, not eligible to have that exchange. That's why there's so many songs. I was looking for love in all the wrong places. Yeah, that's what people are doing. Everyone's looking for love in all the wrong places, and they're sad. They don't know why. Oh, I don't know why I'm suffering like this, or this relationship failed, or this. It's simple, actually. It's because devotion wasn't the center of the relationship. Now people get married oftentimes, but more people, there's a higher chance of divorce than there is in marriage in the West now, but even in India. It used to be very little divorce. In Hindi, there's no word for divorce even. It's even unheard of. But now even in India, it's like something like 13, 15%, which is like unheard of. Why? Because marriage used to be 2 people coming together to serve God. Every religion, that was marriage. Marriage was a religious sacrament. It was always a religious activity. Now marriage is like, oh, she's pretty and she thinks I'm funny and cute. Good. Enough. But guess what? She won't be pretty forever, and you won't be funny and cute forever. Your jokes will get old. And then next thing you know, fighting. And then next thing you know, leaving. But no. How does everything stay together? Everything should be in service to the Lord. Then everyone can be happy. So same here. All your relationships should be based on service to the Lord, actually. If you want really deep, close relationships in your life, find devotees. Then you can have good relationships. If you're working in relationships outside, no problem. Like, you have to maintain other relationships to some degree. I have different relationships with different people, but unless it comes to the devotee platform, it can't really be of love. It can't be the symptoms of priti lakshanam. So if you want the symptoms of love to be there, you find devotees, relationships with devotees. Everything will be good. Otherwise, very tension. So anyway, let us do one more exercise. I'm sorry it's so late today. Yes.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Can I actually scroll and find something? I have I've been on fire for a second here. A really important sort of point and something for discussion and a connection actually to bring up in here. And this is just because I asked Prim Prayojan about this specifically and was given a very powerful answer. Let's see. It's in the Bhagavatam verse. Okay. So we're told to show favor to the ignorant, and then up here we are told to not extend invitations to the Mayavadis and atheists nor accept anything from them.
Yeah.
And there is a very important distinction here and discussion here about the people who are Mayavadi, but they're just ignorant, and they're Mayavadi because they don't know that they're Mayavadi, and that's what they've been given, and they haven't yet found anything better.
Yeah.
And they've sort of blindly accepted. So it's just, how do we know when it's appropriate to speak to somebody because they haven't been given something better,
So go
or
down
when we're
where
speaking to
Go down to where you just came from.
somebody who's actually inimical?
Yes. So.
Wait.
So to show favor to the ignorant, the answer to your question is the next few words, and reject the jealous and demoniac. As soon as they become envious towards you,
Okay.
and they start acting inimically towards you, then your love for them will be to just remove yourself away from them, because they are creating offenses by being with you at that point. So you'll see, you'll try and help someone, but at some point someone could turn on you.
Okay.
At some point they can not be happy with the devotional conclusions that you're trying to share, and then at that point it's just best you just take distance from them, because now you're giving them a facility to make offenses to you, and this will only hurt their spiritual life. So out of mercy for them, you have to just remove yourself from the situation. So everybody before that, before they turn on you, is ignorant, even Mayavadis and everything, but as soon as they try to compete with the devotees or speak against the devotees, now Prabhupada's saying that we should reject the Mayavadis because they've firmly committed on this path,
Yes.
and they don't want to hear anything on this, and they will challenge, like
Yes.
let's say the followers of Shankar, they will challenge wholeheartedly the bhakti, the Vaishnava conclusions.
Yes.
So it's just best not to associate, because it's not, or like for instance
So, is
Yeah.
there, my concern would be, is there a danger in taking that hard stance of don't associate at all? I asked somebody about this, and I was like, I'm struggling with some of my association. I can be helpful to them, and I have been helpful to them, but they're Mayavad, and the response I got is, are they wearing the 3-tier tilak? Are they holding a trident? Then they're not Mayavad. They don't know they're Mayavad.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are, here is the ignorance of the material world, and here is love of God, and Mayavad is somewhere in the middle of, I recognize that the material things are not bringing me happiness, but I'm not quite ready yet, and I haven't quite gotten the information yet to recognize what is good devotional activity and what I should be doing. So how do we avoid writing off people who are Mayavad
We don't write
altogether?
anyone off. They will write themselves off. So
Okay.
as soon as they turn envious and inimical towards you, they've done it.
Okay.
Now they're down there on the snowball of making Vaishnava Aparad, and you being in their association is hurting them at that point.
Okay.
So you just have to back off. As soon as they start insulting you, criticizing you, something like this, then you just have to back off, because you're hurting them now at this point, because now they're making Vaishnava Aparad, and now they're getting as far away as they can get from devotion. So if you want to preserve them and help them and get them closer to devotion, you just have to step away for some time, and eventually they might have, we've seen this, right? I think there's someone that we've all, in our lives we've seen, and I think of many people who, at some point they just turn against the devotees. They don't want to hear it, they're not in a place to hear it, and then they say some offensive things to devotees. So you just take some time, they take some time, and then eventually they might come back and they have, you know what, maybe I should reconsider this. And then again, you're friendly, you're loving, and you try and help them, but then at some point again, maybe, that has to be a few times. I've seen this with my parents many times. At first when I was getting into devotional life, my parents, no, what are you doing? You'll never find a wife, you'll never get this. All these things. Kumar thinks it's funny. All these things. So I had to go away. I lived at the temple and everything, but then, because they're my parents. So I'll go back to my parents and we love each other. And then at some point, they're like, why are you chanting all the time? You're like, do something else, blah, blah, blah. And then I go away again. And then keep going back, and now they come here most of the time. And we keep refreshing, but then any chance that there is for making offenses, then they just gotta separate for some time. And it's healthy for you. You gotta be strategic how you place yourself around people, because now if you put yourself in a group and they start criticizing what you're doing, criticizing the Vaishnavas, blaspheming the Lord, blaspheming the devotees, you're hurting them because you're the impetus. They're like, they see you and like, oh, now it's time to blaspheme the devotees, blaspheme you, blaspheme the Lord. So then you just, oh, I have to get away, or I'm going to keep hurting this person. And also, it's uncomfortable, you know. No one, it's not a great environment to just be like blasphemed all the time. So that's kind of your answer. When they become jealous and demoniac, that's when you know you have to write them up. Not write them. It's not like there's ever a complete write-off.
Right.
You're finished in this. Yes.
I think it's kind of like fishing. You know when to give the fish some line.
Yes.
When the fish is really getting intense, you don't like you give him some line.
Yeah, let them.
Like they say, the best way to
control.
control the sheep is to put them in a large pasture.
Yes. So you give it the distance.
They'll come back.
Yeah.
We don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but we don't want to put up with their crap either.
Exactly. So
Thank you.
Just thank you, Jagadish.
Yeah.
That's a perfect example. We don't fish, but
But you know,
it's a great proverb.
it is, and from the Bible, it's like, I will make you fishers of men. And
Yes.
this is a lot like, really, when you're out evangelizing,
Yes,
that's what
absolutely.
you are. You're called. We are called to be fishers of men.
That's right.
And there's a certain way it's done.
Yes.
In the beginning, we might be clumsy, but then
Yes.
we develop the ability to go with the flow in the moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so you
Patient.
just feel it out. And this is your checkpoint. Oh, inimical behavior towards me. Inimical behavior towards the Lord. Distance. Give him some line. Give him some line. That's it. And then you'll try again later. No problem. You could try again. Maybe he'll come closer this time. But anyway, yeah. So you're not ever in the business of writing people off. Vaishnavas are compassionate. They want to help everybody, even if they're, especially the Mayavadis too. But when someone is fixed against the devotional conclusions, just best to leave them be, unless there's a chance. But.
There's also another Christian piece of that somewhat, that if you go to a town and you speak the message and they don't receive it, leave that town.
Yes.
And shake the dust off your feet. First shake the dust off your feet and leave that town. Which
Yeah. I mean, that's
you don't take on the negativity, you just
even
it's like it's self-protection or whatever you want to call it.
yeah, like when we go out and do books, we talk to so many people.
Exactly.
And then so many people are so rude. And it's like, okay. On to the next one. You just got to shake the dust off your feet. All right, I tried my best, but that person's not ready. Maybe not in this lifetime. I don't know. But who knows? You never know. I've had people who were I know a devotee in this area who had inimical opposite conclusions to the devotional conclusions and personally gave me a lot of trouble. And then somehow or other came back around and really took to the devotional conclusion, and I saw it was like, wow. It was like a miracle to me. She met a certain personality and he just really transformed her view on things, and then she just completely changed her position. And she was coming from a Mayavadi background, Mayavadi meditations, all these things, and just completely changed everything. And I, in my mind, thought like, all right, well, I just got to keep a distance. But Krishna found a way to bring her, and now like she's one of my favorite people. When I do get to see her, I'm like, wow. I'm very happy when she's coming. But you never know when that shift can be there, So, but it's also, you're not the doer. That's also a thing we have to remember. We're not the doer of anything. Krishna's the doer. We can be an instrument, but we're not the one. I have to make everyone a devotee. That's your first mistake, thinking that you're doing it. No, I'm just trying to help Krishna. I'm trying to please Krishna. And in this activity, okay, now this person's speaking ill against Krishna. I got to get away from this person. It's pleasing to Krishna. I can't hear this blasphemy to Krishna. I got to go, like this. So that's what we focus on. What is pleasing to Krishna? So at some point, some people may turn away towards pleasing to Krishna activities. Like if you hang out with for me, but in the West, probably if we hang out with our parents and relatives long enough, eventually things will be there that will not be pleasing to Krishna. And then we're like, all right, I'll see you guys later. I got to go do this thing over here. But at some point, I've seen my parents personally when they come here, and then sometimes they chant, eat prasad, hang with the devotees. I've seen them do very many things pleasing to Krishna. But, just have to be patient and wait for the right environment and the right circumstance. My parents were at my second initiation. My parents were at our devotional wedding, wearing kurta and sari, and around a fire, vivaha, like this. And I at those times I was crying watching them engage in devotional service. So you never know, but then most of the time it's not like that. So most of the time it's just like, all right, I'll see you guys in like a month, like that. So you just have to kind of be patient. But we've totally overtalked. I've totally overtalked today. Can we maybe just spend 2 or 3 minutes just chanting the Maha Mantra with the proper mood? And what is the proper mood? Haitukya pratihata. I'm doing this for your pleasure. You might not even know if Krishna is real. That's fair. When I started doing this whole thing, I was like, is this even real? Are you real? Like, having to develop faith. So even if that's where you're at, I don't know if God is real. I don't know if Krishna is real, if he's really here. But even if you're starting from that point, okay, if you're real and this is pleasing to you, this is my humble attempt. Let it be an experiment, and you just see. And if you're like me and you're like everyone else who practices devotion, what happens is if you give Krishna a chance, he will reveal certain aspects to you. He'll give you signs. He'll show you in your life many, many different things. So let's